It's known as a world leader in housing art, design and performance, exhibiting enamels, architecture, Art Nouveau and even the costumes of the 60s girl group The Supremes. But now London's Victoria and Albert Museum, known as the V&A, will house the landmark Africa Fashion Exhibition featuring 45 designers from over 20 African countries. It's the UK's largest exhibit of its kind and showcases the creativity, the influence and of course the global impact of African fashion throughout the years. Over 250 objects are on display right here at the V&A for visitors, and that ranges from catwalk footage to photographic portraits right through to garments and textiles. Many of the garments on show will be from the personal archives of iconic mid-20th century African designers such as Sade Thomas Pham, Kofi Ansah and Alfade, marking the first time their work will be shown in a London museum. The exhibition will also celebrate influential contemporary African fashion creatives such as Motions, Thebe Magugu and Christy Brown. Music, moving imagery and photography will also play their part in the exhibition, with priceless family albums and beautiful photography by legendary Ghanaian photographer James Barner also on display. 10 families answered the call out for new acquisitions of fashion trends from all across Africa, and now their testimonies and pictures are on display here for the very first time. Now, looking at these pictures and these photographs, it's like looking in my own family albums. This exhibition forms part of a broader and ongoing V&A commitment to grow the museum's permanent collection of work by African and African diaspora designers, working collaboratively to tell new layered stories about the richness and diversity of African creativity, cultures and histories, using fashion as a catalyst. Dr. Christine Czekinska is the Senior Curator of African and African Diaspora Textiles and Fashion at the V&A. She told me why now is the time for this exhibition to finally be on show in London.
We recognise, or for many years we've recognised the impact that contemporary African fashions are having globally on the global fashion industry. And so it was a case of now is the time, because we can't ignore it any longer. And I think if you look at African creativity across the arts, whether it's visual art, music or fashion, really it's the designers, the creators, the innovators on the continent that are really leading the way. So now is the time to consciously celebrate their contribution.
Politics and Poetics of Cloth will consider the importance of cloth in many African countries and the way in which the making and wearing of indigenous cloths in the moment of independence became a strategic political act. Wax prints, commemorative cloth and kente will be shown, fragments of a rich textile history that includes thousands of techniques from across the continent. Sade Thomas Pham, Chris Seydoux, Kofi Ansah, Alfade, Naima Benis and their peers represent the first generation of African designers to gain attention throughout the continent and globally. This is the first time their work will be shown in a London museum. It's housed in its section called The Vanguard, which traces their rise and impact, their creative process and inspirations, brought to life by real stories from those who loved and wore their distinctive designs. So, where do you start bringing together such an iconic set of designers?
But it really begins with the story that you hope to tell. And I think for us, right from the beginning, before we even wrote the story that we've now told, we knew that the story had to be one of abundance rather than lack, for example. We knew that we wanted to focus on this idea of unbounded creativity that one finds on the continent. So that was our starting point. We also knew that we had to present a Pan-African, luxurious Pan-African fashion scene, because that's the scene as it truly is. We needed to present it as diverse as the continent itself, with a myriad cultures and histories. And with that, we also recognise the power of fashion to be a catalyst with which to tell the richness of the continent.
On the mezzanine level of the exhibition, the new generation of groundbreaking designers, collectives, stylists and fashion photographers working in Africa today will be celebrated. Ghanaian women's wear fashion house Christy Brown were amongst those chosen to exhibit. Aisha Ayensu, founder and creative director of Christy Brown, told me about the two pieces that were chosen to feature in the exhibition.
So the two the two pieces we're talking about, they're from two different collections, right? One is from She's King, which is a fall collection. I don't remember the year. I'm horrible with details like that, but it's a fall collection of ours, and the collection is called She's King. Now, it's just the ethos of that collection, just and how well it resonates with what the brand stands for. And at the time, my headspace was, she's not, we have all these terms of boss lady, she's a boss or whatnot. And for me, it wasn't that. It's the fact that the woman was king over her life and her world. And that's what that collection embodied, just a woman owning her place in her world and taking charge. And so it's only right that that's one of the pieces that was, part of the exhibition.
The exhibition runs from now right through to April 2023 and will be the UK's most extensive exhibition of African fashions to date, celebrating the vitality and innovation of this vibrant scene, as dynamic and varied as the continent itself.